We're here on the Rain Check, Jared Shaffron and Paige Capistrand, presented by Rotolo Chevrolet. Today we were joined by Rain Goaltender Pheonix Copley. Pheonix, thanks for taking a few minutes with us today.
Absolutely happy to be here.
We definitely are going to be speaking about some of the teas that you see here on this table, but first wanted to start because this is the Super Bowl just finished up after we're recording this a couple days after the Super Bowl, and Eagles with a blowout win. So we're not going to ask you much about the game, but when you're watching the Super Bowl, what's your favorite food to eat during the Super Bowl?
I'd say wings.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll go buffalo dip.
I like that too.
Yeah.
I didn't have buffalo dip this year. I thought about making wings, but admittedly went to the grocery store too late. They were sold out of wings. So I got cauliflower wings. I made cauliflower wings this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, they were good. They were okay.
Cauliflower wings?
Yeah, like they're buffalo cauliflower. So it's cauliflower that's cut up into little pieces.
Okay.
And then you put buffalo sauce on them.
You fry them and then...
Yeah, I baked them.
Okay.
So they weren't fried, but they were, they tasted good. I personally like blue cheese a lot. So it really, for me, it's just a method to consume blue cheese, I think. So
Love it.
Anyway. But yeah, we're glad to have you on. It's been a year for you that this year I'm sure is a little bit different because you're recovering from what was a pretty major injury for you. But at this point, we look at your last couple games, it seems like you're really hitting your stride. How have you felt here as of late with this team who's right now towards the top of the standings?
Yeah, it's been good. Like you said, it's coming back from an injury. It's a little bit difficult at times. I felt like the start of the season, the first month or so, it was kind of inconsistent for me, kind of like feeling out, getting comfortable again. Not only physically, I think the trainers and everything did a really good job, but getting the comfort level, reading the game, getting those game reps in to where I can feel comfortable in those situations. So it was a little bit of a feeling out process for me, but as the season's gone on, I feel like I've done a better and better job, and it's become more and more comfortable. The reads I've made and stuff in games have been more natural, and I think that only happens the more games you get in. So, I felt a lot better of late.
And going off of that, when you think of having an ACL surgery, as a goaltender, that is like so much has to go into like your mental game. What advice would you give to like other athletes, especially goalies, who have to go through something like that and then come back?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say be patient for sure. I think, you always want to get in right away. And for me, I was like telling myself I'm 100% like way before I was, just because I felt like if I told myself that, it would happen. But I think no matter what, your body it takes time to recover from something like that. So I would say, patience is big, and just kind of trusting the process and trusting the trainers and everything like that, because, it doesn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes a while to regain the strength and regain the comfort, because like you said, as a goalie, going in the butterfly, like dropping on your knee all the time, you have to be comfortable and have confidence that, everything is strong enough to do all these movements and stuff. So just being patient and trusting the process is the advice I would give.
Did you talk to anyone else who gave you advice, whether it was a goaltender who had this type of situation, or obviously skaters? It's not necessarily a common injury, but it's more common.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of guys. A lot of guys who have been injured and stuff, kind of, talking to them was nice. There's really no other goalies I knew of that had this injury other than Chris Drieger, and we have the same agent, and he connected us. So he had the injury like a year and a half before I did. So he was like at the point where he was just, able to tell me about his whole process when it happened to me. So I reached out and spoke to him on the phone, and he kind of, was saying the same kind of things, like you just got to be patient. And at that point, he was like, I have no symptoms at all anymore. My knee feels great. I don't even think about it when I'm playing. And so it was good to hear that and kind of like know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because at that point, I think I talked to him last February or March. I was a couple months out of surgery, and like, it's tough. Like, you want to heal so quick, but it just takes time. So it was good to talk to him, and it kind of set me on a little bit of a path where, okay, this is, going to be a longer process. I just have to stick with it.
And last question before we get into the tea. You've been crushing it your last chunk of games, and you've played on so many different teams. What do you think makes this Rain team different than all the teams you've played for before?
This team's really close. Everyone enjoys being around each other. We're having a lot of fun. So I think that's kind of what you need in a team to go deep. Everyone needs to be enjoying themselves. Everyone needs to be contributing, and it feels like young guys, old guys, everyone's in the mix. So it's a fun group to be a part of, and it's a good locker room.
Well, I mean, take us from the start. I mean, this is something that obviously you're very passionate about, and so we'll kind of get into everything. But for you, like, how did you start drinking tea and noticing that it was going to be something that meant a lot to you and obviously ended up helping you?
Yeah, so I was playing in Hershey, and there was a farmer's market that this is how it started. There was a farmer's market that would sell like the loose leaf components of tea, and so my wife and I we would just get kind of like the little boxes and kind of make our own tea. And this was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And so we were just at home, kind of just like for fun, like in the evenings or afternoons, like just making our own little blends. And then I had the idea, like, this is like kind of calming. I'll try this during games. I'll make some tea and drink it in the intermissions. And so I started doing that, and I was like really like that. So I got the idea, like, this would be kind of a cool thing to have, like, make available for other athletes. Like, I feel like it helps me a lot. I think making this available to other athletes would be a good idea. So I reached out to a couple companies. I was looking for someone who could help make blends. I had ideas on the blends we were making, like with peppermint and chamomile and everything, but I didn't I needed someone who was better at that to help come up with actual blends, like with 6, 7, 8 ingredients. And so I reached out to a few companies, a company in Chicago. They're a small company that makes spices, but they have access to all of the stuff that you can make tea. And I spoke with them, and they're like, oh, that's a great idea. We can send you a bunch of blends and see which ones you like. And so I told them my idea was to have a hydration blend, a recovery blend, and a nighttime blend. And so they made some different blends, and we tried them and tinkered with some things. And these 3 blends are the ones we ended up coming up with.
I want to follow up on that because you mentioned Hershey, and I think, playing there, obviously it's a unique place to play. They're one of the most storied teams in the American Hockey League, but it's not a thriving metropolis. It's a little bit of a different type of place than, say, LA, El Segundo. The farmers markets there, like, what is that even like? Because there's a lot of farms out that way, so there's probably a lot of fresh ingredients. Like, what even turned you on to maybe reach out and try a farmer's market in Hershey?
Yeah, they've got all sorts of it's kind of outside of Hershey. It's a lot of Amish country, so there's all sorts of you can go get raw milk, you can go get fresh beef right from the dairy, right from the farm. And the farmers markets, you can get a lot of food just straight from the Amish people who are raising it, and that was kind of cool. That was the farmers market there, and that's kind of where that all started.
Do you have a favorite one of your 3?
I drink this one mostly during games. I switch between Nourish and Revival during games and intermissions, but I drink the nighttime blend every night. So if I had to pick one that I could only drink, it would probably be the nighttime blend.
Do you think you could fall asleep without having it?
I can, because I don't, like, on the road I don't always have it, and it's manageable, but I definitely sleep better when I have a cup of tea and can kind of have my full nighttime routine.
Was it tough to transform it into a business where, like, it was just like you said, it's you and your wife kind of hanging out and just enjoying it, and then trying to see, like, how can I make this a business instead of just something that you're doing?
For sure. It's a kind of a learning process. And, when I was doing it, I was like, I could, like, take online classes and kind of learn about business that way and then try and do this, or I could just create a business and learn as I go, read books and watch stuff and kind of take a longer path of learning it, but do it kind of do it on a hands-on way. And so that's what I decided to do. And my wife's been there to helping the whole way. And it's definitely challenging at times, but I enjoy it a lot. It's cool. I feel like I've learned so much doing it this way, and the whole business side, going from, creating the products to then making them available and then marketing them and everything like that. It's been a process, but it's been a fun one, and I've learned a lot.
And you've said that it's helped you with cramps. Would you say that there's a specific athlete that you find likes your tea the most? Like, do you think mostly hockey players drink it, or who do you think reaches out to you most asking questions about your tea and buying it?
I think because I'm in hockey, I'll get a lot more hockey people into it, but I've had a couple MMA guys who are into it that they seem to like it. I think athletes who are just more like health conscious are kind of into the tea. So, if any sport, yeah, hockey's definitely had the most attention to it.
Anyone on the Rain team specific?
Now all the boys are
all
on
of
it now.
them
I
love
just
it.
brought some in. Yeah, so everybody's been trying it, and I've got a lot of good reviews from the guys.
What about the coaches?
They love tea in general, so I'll bring some in occasionally and just leave it in the room, and it's gone in like a week. And I think that was mostly the staff is just plowing through it. But now I got the boys all have some at home, so it's good.
Well, we haven't had any, so we're gonna try some today.
Yeah.
I guess I know you kind of did a few things here, but I guess tell us about the 3 different ones and then what we're gonna drink.
Okay, yeah. So this is the hydration blend. This is Nourish. It's got peppermint, spearmint, rose, and orange peel, and then a couple other ingredients, but those are the main ones. It's got a lot of minerals, those ingredients. So that was made to kind of hydrate. It's like an afternoon tea. It doesn't have any caffeine in it, so you can drink it before bed. You can kind of drink it whenever. It's not going to keep you up, but it's more for the minerals and hydration. This is the nighttime blend. The main ingredients in this one are lavender and chamomile. So it's good for, obviously, before bed. It's very calming. It smells like, when you smell it, it's like kind of like a peaceful, you get a lot of the lavender. It's like nice. I usually have it if I'm going to watch a TV show or movie or read a book before bed. I'll like make that and drink that. And then this one's the recovery one. It's got ginger, cherry, rooibos, and ashwagandha, which are like really good anti-inflammatories. And so kind of the idea behind all of it was I have nothing against supplements, and I take supplements. I think they're important, but my idea was like, if you can get things naturally, that would be the best. Your body can like absorb stuff the best. So if you can take minerals and drink a bunch of water, or you can drink tea and that has the minerals in it and it's in a natural form. Same thing with the other ones. So that was kind of like my idea in making them. And yeah, like I said, I drink these 2 during games and then that one at night, and I find they help a lot, and I've had a lot of good reviews from other athletes who've been drinking them.
Does this one have caffeine?
No, it has mate in it, but it's not, and mate has caffeine in it, but it's like very small amounts since there's other ingredients, so it wouldn't be considered a caffeinated tea because there's a small amount of it in there.
Interesting.
Paige is looking for the caffeine.
I
You're
was.
looking for yeah, we got to get like a green tea going, yeah.
For me and Paige as well, obviously with us being broadcasters, vocal cords, throat health is a big thing. I was just sick last week, so which one do you think we should be drinking on air?
I would say probably the hydration one, and maybe mix in a little bit of honey. I've heard honey's good if you're dealing with like a scratchy throat or something.
We were in Tucson. I was struggling.
You got through
Made it through.
You guys can take that one after, and so
thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want, I can get some going here.
Sure.
I got those 2 are prepared for you, but I'll show you guys how it's done here.
And do you always drink it hot? Do you like it over ice?
During the season, like during games, I always drink it hot. But like in the summer, if it's like a hot day or something, yeah, we can make it cold.
That's crazy
and
to
you just
me.
make like a cold brew. Like you just make it. You can make it hot, or you could put cold water in and just put it in the fridge.
Okay.
Or you can make it hot and then put it in the fridge and just leave it. It takes a little bit longer, obviously, but and then also when you brew it, the longer you let it sit, the stronger it's going to be. So if you let it sit in the hot water for a really long time, it can get kind of bitter if you leave it in there for like 30 minutes or something. But so here, I'll show it because everyone asks.
Yeah.
So when I'm making it, instead of like just dumping it straight, I kind of make a V and then shake it into the T-ball. And that kind of makes it so you don't make a huge mess. And then lock it in. And we're good to go. So we'll get these 3 cups brewing.
I feel like it's very impressive to drink a hot drink during a game.
I know, and I it seems counterintuitive, but like it doesn't, like, I don't know. I find it like soothing, and I feel like you would think it would like make you sweat more, or like not, but I find it doesn't have that effect on me.
How hot do you like want it? Because again, this is based on me. If it's not really hot for me, like it's gonna be too cold. Like I need it to be pretty like fresh and hot.
Yeah.
But like I think other people don't want it to drink that hot. Like if it's smoking, they're like, oh, I gotta let it cool off a little bit.
Well, you don't want to burn your tongue.
Yeah, you don't want to burn your tongue.
I don't
So
know.
when I make it during a game, I make it like right when I get to the rink,
Yeah.
and it'll be boiling hot out of the kettle. But then like we've got meetings and warming up and all that stuff. So like
Yeah.
by the time the first intermission comes, it's like perfect. Like
Okay.
I would never burn my tongue. It's like it's warm, but it's not scorching hot.
Okay.
So it's like I think just finding that like that. But and usually I'll like shake them because there's like some floaties in these ones.
Yeah.
Usually if you like after you make it, if you shake it like over a trash can,
Yep.
that gets all the loose stuff. Because now we got a couple of floaties here, but
And sorry, so I'm drinking which one? The
Revival.
Revival.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is that what we all have the Revival?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we all
we're
have
all-
the Revival. All right,
But
perfect.
you guys can have this one. This one will be
Right.
This
the
is for our
That'll be for
yeah,
our
this will be the
broadcast.
broadcast. How's the temp? Usually you want to let it steep for probably like 3 to 5 minutes to
Right.
get.
This is what I do. I wait. It's hot, which is not this. The temp right now for me is like a good temp. Which now, if I let it sit for the probably recommended, I don't know.
Yeah, so
another
you'd want to
4
do it
minutes.
like we let it sit here. You'd
Yeah.
want to like right while it's like
While
hot
it's
off
really
the
hot.
kettle.
Well,
we let the kettle sit
It's
a
a
little
good
bit.
taste, though. I like
But
it.
yeah, it'll be even better. In
I'll
like a couple
I'll let
minutes.
it wait for another couple minutes.
So I should wait.
Yeah, if you want it like
I got too
I was-
excited. I guess another question I had is, like kind of mentioned drinking it during games and everything. Like, is that just now part of your routine, basically? Like, and how did you got to implement that into your routine where you decided, all right, I'm gonna try to do this, and this is the way I'm gonna have to like you said, get it all ready and let it sit before the first intermission.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like if something happens and like my routine's messed up. It's not the end of the world for me. I try not to. So I kind of feel like if I want to try something new, it's pretty easy to just get it in there. And so yeah, it was like one game. It was a while ago when I was still kind of messing around with the teas. I was like, I'll just try this during a game and see how it goes. And I ended up enjoying it, and so I kind of been doing it ever since. But if I like, it's happened before where I forget the tea or something happens, I don't have it with me. It's not the end of the world, but I definitely prefer it.
I feel like as an athlete, that's so important that, especially in hockey, everyone has their superstitions and they do this and that, black tape versus white tape. But sometimes you do forget your tea. And I think, what would you say to like, especially the youth hockey players right now, that if you mess up, it's okay to...
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a game, so you're out
Yeah.
there having fun. I think, as you get more experience, you kind of see, stuff happens. It's not always going to go the way you planned it. So, just kind of having, letting it roll off your shoulders. Same thing, you make a bad play, it happens. Everybody makes bad plays. Everybody makes mistakes. And so same thing, like if something goes wrong in your preparation or something, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to kind of move on.
When you got the opportunity to jump up with the Kings, obviously it was a good run. You got to the locker room and you're bringing in tea. Like, what was their reaction? Because I think obviously the Reign, you had this coming in, so they only knew you as, okay, this, you're going to drink tea, you're going to make tea, they're going to see this, and then you get to the NHL and they're, what was the reaction from the Kings teammates?
Yeah, definitely guys ask questions like, are you drinking tea? Is that hot? Like a lot of questions. But yeah. Yeah, and some guys up there wanted to try too, so I brought some in for guys up there and different people in the media stuff that wanted to try. But yeah, it is unique, but I think it's cool because it's something different, and if guys like it, they can kind of use it to their advantage. If not, it's just kind of something like, oh, he's a weird goalie drinking his tea over there.
I was going to ask that. Like, everyone says goalies are weird. Do you think at the beginning, before people knew you as the tea guy, that it was just like, oh, that's a weird goalie?
There might have been a little. I don't know. I maybe I'm just ignorant to it, but yeah, there might have been a little bit of like, oh, he's drinking teas. It's a weird
He's a
goalie
goalie.
over there. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of guys have embraced it at this point.
Love that.
This is getting away from the tea at this point, but I know everyone always talks about, and clearly you're proudly from Alaska, proudly from North Pole. But as a kid growing up playing in, North Pole, Alaska, like what was that like for your youth hockey experience? And how big is hockey at the in North Pole?
Yeah, so North Pole's like 20 minutes outside of Fairbanks, Alaska, and that's like where the city would
Sure.
be. I think it's like 70,000 people. So that's like where we'd go and play. And then there's usually one team per year for the age group, and then you'd go to Anchorage and play. There's, I think, 3 or 4 teams there. So that was like most of the hockey we played in state was in Anchorage or against Anchorage teams. And then we would go to a tournament once or twice a year. We'd go to Anaheim. We would go to outside of Vancouver, Chicago. So
a lot of travel.
Yeah, so we got to like do like one tournament, sometimes 2 per year, where it was outside of Alaska. But yeah, it was good. It was like, for me, it was normal. Like, I know if you're talking to someone from like Toronto where there's a million teams per age group, it's going to be a lot different. But yeah, up there it was just the one team, and we would sometimes play against the older teams or the teams below us, like just to get game time in. But yeah, other than that, just go to Anchorage and play, or they would come up and play us.
I read somewhere that you started as a forward, but then your brother needed someone to shoot on. When did you switch to goalie?
Yeah, so I lived in Ohio for a little bit, and that's when me and my brother started playing hockey. And yeah, we would go to games, and then we'd just be like so fired up from watching the games. We'd go home and want to play, and so we'd be playing, and then eventually my brother, he's older than me, he was like, "Hey, I need someone to shoot on." So I would go in net, and I started to have a lot of fun. Like after games, I would like want to go be the goalie, and then in the youth program they had gear, and so they let me try the gear, and I was like loved it. And so then when we moved back to Alaska, I was like, okay, I would just want to be a goalie now. And I think I was 8 or 9, so I only played 2 or 3 years of like mini mites as a forward, and then I was like hooked on goalie.
All right, well, we gotta try this.
Yeah.
Now. Let's see. Has it been long enough? So I need
Yeah,
to wait
yeah,
longer?
no, yeah.
Okay.
You should you should be good now.
Oh, you know what? I can taste that there's more flavor now.
Yeah.
After waiting for a few more minutes.
I like it.
It's good.
So this one you can kind of taste a little bit more of the cherry. This one, the Nourish, that the broadcast tea is now.
It's now being called broadcast tea.
The broadcast tea. That's going to be more minty, a lot more of a minty flavor. It's got peppermint and spearmint. And this one, yeah, it's a little bit darker, rich flavor.
Yep. I like it.
Me too.
I feel like
Thank you, Phoenix.
my throat health is getting better.
Yeah, it's
here.
already better.
Well, I should be drinking. Honestly, I say this a lot, but I mean, the 72-game regular season plus playoffs, it is a long year, and I probably don't take care of my vocal cords as much as I should. So this is a good.
It can be hard with the travel and everything, but yeah, for sure, the tea is a good addition.
Hydration is important, whether
For
you're
everyone.
playing or broadcasting.
Washed up.
I know. So you mentioned, okay, Alaska and Ohio, and we know you went to school at Michigan Tech, which is in the UP. We'll talk about that location in a second because I was lucky enough to have called a couple games there. You were gone already at that point, but crazy rink, really cool rink. But you end up in that conference, you were able to probably play games in Alaska. You played games in Ohio. Any impact on choosing a college, knowing that you'd have a couple games maybe that might take place in Alaska?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they call that process of when I got to the USHL, a lot of schools all of a sudden are like,
right.
Yeah, they're like,
if you're playing goalie in the USHL,
yeah,
you're going to get some looks. Yeah.
So, and yeah, there was Alaska and Ohio were on the table at that point. But when I was making the decision, I was looking for a place where I could get a good education and become a better hockey player. And Michigan Tech, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere a little bit, but they had Steve Shields as the goalie coach, and he had a long NHL career, and I felt like he would be able to help me in my career. And then I wanted to be an engineer at that point, so it was an engineering school, and I was like, this kind of checks those 2 big boxes for me. And so I ended up going there, and yeah, it was a good experience for me. I liked it a lot.
I mean, I got a chance to do a couple games there when I was at Ferris State, and it seemed like actually a really cool place to attend school. Like, I only got a small taste of it, but to go to school there, and again, maybe you'll explain a little bit more about just the city of Houghton and some of the things that you can do there and some of the local economy. Obviously, this school was a big part of that, but you are kind of isolated a little bit. It's all the way up in the UP, and it's not easy to get in and out of. But what was that? Was that a little bit like the North Pole? A little bit.
It was. To me, it kind of did feel like Alaska, like because you're not as far away as Alaska, but you kind of are because there's nothing really close by. Flying into there is not easy. The airport's really small, and because of the weather, it's like half the flights are delayed anyway. So it's like once you get up there, you're kind of like isolated. But it was cool. I had a lot of fun there. I was only there 2 years, but it was a good experience for me, and I felt like, the team was good. We had to stay over after the first year as freshmen, so we got to spend a whole summer up there, and the landscape up there was beautiful. It was waterfalls, and we'd go hiking and fishing, and it was a good time. So, I enjoyed my time there. I felt like it was a good program. It was kind of like on the cusp of getting better and better. They had a tough few years, and then when my class came in, we kind of made some progress, and then after I left, they kept making progress, and so it was a good experience for me, and I enjoyed my time up there. They have a cool rink too. It's not huge, but it's really steep stands, so like playing there, you get a good atmosphere.
Bringing it back to the rain, you've been here since Marco started with you guys, and obviously you went up, but how would you describe the way Marco has changed as a coach from when you first met him till this season now?
Yeah, you can tell he's got a lot more experience now. He's kind of matured as a coach. I mean, I've always thought he was a good coach, but he's like kind of really like takes command of the room, and you can tell he's got like that experience and that confidence in his coaching style now. I think it probably like coming from an assistant to a head coach, no matter where you're coming from, I feel like it's a little bit of maybe an adjustment, and that's just kind of, my guess. I've never done it, but I feel like this year I could tell like he's kind of on a mission, and he has a high standard for us, which I think is good, especially, we have some young guys, and keeping that high standard for everybody throughout the lineup, I think is a good thing. And I think he's doing a great job.
It's also a little bit different for you this year with the rain as opposed to the last time you were with the team as far as different goaltending coach, and Matt Miller still with the organization, obviously a big part of the goaltending department, but Adam Brown taking over as a day-to-day rain goaltending coach. What's it like working with him? He seems like he's got a really good energy about him.
Yeah, he does. He's always in a good mood. He's always bringing good energy to the rink, and he's definitely, you can tell he's committed to helping both Ports and I get better. It's not just like we're going out there and doing like, Joe Blow drills. Like he's got a plan. He sees stuff in our game that he wants, to help us improve on. And I think it's good to have a coach like that who's kind of paying attention, and he's not just out there going through the motions. He's seeing stuff, and he's like, okay, maybe we can do a little work here, or what do you think? Like, because at the same time, he's not like pushing us to do things that are outside of our comfort zone where, we don't play that style. He's keeping it within our style, but helping us to improve. And I think that's really good for both Ports and I.
You mentioned how there's a lot of young guys on the team, and especially the D core. They're a young group. I feel like the relationship between goalies and defensemen are key to success in a team. How would you describe your relationship with this D core?
Yeah, it's been good. I feel like even just like halfway through the season now, we are a little bit more. I feel like they've all made so much progress, and I think, for myself, like coming back from the injury, I feel like I've made progress with them, which is kind of cool. They've been great. I feel like, you can't really tell they're a young D-core. Like there's guys like Millsy, he's playing just about every game, and he plays such a mature game, I feel like, and Booth are the same. Like there's just a lot of young guys who are coming in and like playing really well, and I think as defensemen, that's pretty outstanding.
You came here and you'd been primarily on the East Coast with Hershey, Washington. I know you were with the St. Louis organization as well, but you've never been out on the Pacific as your home territory as far as your pro career. What's it been like getting to see some of the road cities in our division, and do you have a favorite road city with some favorite things that you like to do?
So first of all, so when I came out here, like I all of a sudden have so much more family coming to visit. I'm way closer, the weather's better. That's been good to be closer to family. Sure. Like obviously Alaska's a lot closer than flying way over to the West Coast.
Alaska Airlines flies to LA, but
Exactly.
probably not to the other places there.
Yeah, I don't know if they fly to Hershey, but yeah, no. So that's been good. I've been closer to family is always nice, and yeah, kind of just seeing. I'd never played any of these rinks before I came out here, so kind of just being able to see, it's kind of cool to have new experiences like that, where you're seeing new arenas, how different organizations do things, and as far as a favorite city, it's fun. Henderson, going to Vegas is always fun. There's so many restaurants and so much to do, and so it's nice to just kind of get out there and you get to have a good meal with the guys, and I feel like they have a good away rink as well, so that's a good spot.
Yeah, this season we've been there 4 separate times.
Yeah.
So definitely got a chance to experience that. And
yeah, I feel like all our trips we go there, we're going there the day before. We don't have a game the day before,
right.
So it's been kind of unique for us in that way, but it's good.
The music there is different. Like the bass is
probably
like playing in Vegas. I mean, as a goaltender, do you kind of notice when they turn it up to the next notch there on the music?
Honestly, not when I'm playing. I never really realized, but like if I'm sitting on the bench, I'll notice stuff like that, like different things about the atmosphere and stuff. But when I'm playing, I'm not really too focused on it, so I feel like I notice a lot more of that when I'm not playing.
We had an interview with somebody else was talking to Jacob Ingham earlier this year, and so now since we're talking about this, that made me think of this question. So I'm going to ask you. He admitted that when he is backing up. Like, he's obviously warming up. He's obviously prepared, but he's not as focused, clearly, on the game. So he was taking in all these other things. Like, do you feel like when you're backing up, sometimes you kind of forget, like, you're not in the same kind of mental focus that you are even when you're getting ready for a game?
Yeah, I mean, it is different. I try and, stay ready in case anything happens, but at the same time, it's you're not playing, so, you can kind of have a little bit of the leeway to kind of soak it in, I guess, or pay more attention to other stuff like that, have a little more fun with the guys, or help out if you can in any way. So yeah, it's different, but at the same time you do have to kind of be ready. But I don't know, every goalie is probably a little different with how they handle those situations.
Well, Pheonix, we appreciate your time. We appreciate the tea. This is
thank you.
We're gonna let you know how we incorporate this into our routine.
Definitely
but I know Paige is big caffeine. This might not fit into your routine.
I should stop the caffeine, so this might help.
There you go. Well, yeah, we appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck here moving forward with the upcoming couple months here.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.